מדברים אמזון, הפודקאסט שמקלף את שכבות העולם הסבוך של אמזון, עם עמית רוזנטל ואלי ונטורה, שני יזמים ותיקים ומנוסים בעולם האי-קומרס. בואו נצא לדרך.
ברוכים הבאים לפרק מספר 64 של הפודקאסט מדברים אמזון. אני אלי ונטורה, איתי עמית רוזנטל, היום קצת עם פחות קול, אנחנו 10 דקות אחרי שידור הגמר של ארגנטינה צרפת. אני מזכיר לכם שאת הפודקאסט שלנו אתם יכולים לשמוע בספוטיפיי, גוגל פודקאסט, אפל פודקאסט ובערוץ שלנו ביוטיוב. עמית, איך אתה מרגיש היום?
לא יודע, איך אפשר להתחיל לגשות פה, היא מטורפת, אבל וואו, בקיצור, אין מה להגיד, לכל חובבי הספורט והז'אנר, כנראה באופן כללי, זה כנראה אחד מהאירועים הגדולים שהיו, but without further ado, אלי, should I make an intro now?
Yes, אנחנו היום עושים פרק באנגלית עם שני חבר'ה מאוד 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 מעניינים, אז אנחנו עכשיו נעבור לאנגלית ונצא לדרך. עמית, ספר לנו במה זכינו.
יאללה, אז today with us דייויד and וראיין, so they are just an average guys, so to speak, one is a pilot, the other one is a scientist. They matched up together like 3 years ago, have zero experience in e-commerce and selling on Amazon in general. And after 3 years, they made it big. So, David and Ryan, welcome to our show. Thank you for your time here, and happy that you are here.
Yeah, it's really nice being here. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, thanks so much for the intro, guys.
Even though we didn't understand all of it, it sounded really cool.
It was all good things.
Yeah.
Just talk about Messi. Yeah.
I thought it was about the World Cup.
Okay, so first, thank you for your time, to taking the time to record with us. I think at the end of the story, we will tell how we meet each other, yeah. And what will be the end of your story, or maybe the beginning of the new story.
Right.
So first, please take us on a journey back in time, about half a year before you enter the Amazon world. What are you doing these days? How old are you these days? What motivates you to enter Amazon?
Okay, ooh, that's a good question. Actually, starting like 6 months before the Amazon thing. So my wife was pregnant with her second child, right? So my kids now, they're 6 and 4. So we're going back about 4 months. She's pregnant. My son's born already. He's almost 2 years old. I was actually switching. So I was flying an Airbus 320 all around Europe, doing European flights. So I've been to Tel Aviv several times, absolutely loved it. Doing Northern Africa flights as well. So really enjoying, the continental flying. But I had an opportunity to switch aircraft and getting into the long haul flight. So I was flying the Airbus 340 and the Airbus 350, which is the plane I'm flying now. And while I was doing the training, I was transitioning. And then because of our, shortage in instructors, I was actually only doing 1 flight a month. So I had quite a lot of time off work. And during that time off work, I started, researching different business ideas because...
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay. Part of the game.
Exactly. And that's how Ryan joined the team, essentially. But more on that later. No, so I was flying, like I said, just 1 flight a month, had quite a lot of time. And I started looking and researching business ideas. I always liked business. So I studied at London University. I did air transport management. So I got a master's degree in management. I was working for the airline as a manager. And so I'm looking up these business opportunities. And because I was researching it, I actually got a couple YouTube advertisements, including this one from Reliable Education, which is an Australian-based FBA course. And I remember it was, New Year's 2019, and they're saying, if you don't sign up within the next couple hours, our price is going to go up. Last chance, and they totally suckered me into it. I got my credit card out. I paid, I think, $2,000, and I'm like, okay, I'm all in. I'm going to do this. And I remember leaving the office, telling my wife, I just paid $2,000 for this YouTube course. I have no idea if it's going to work, but I think I want to try this. So she was supportive, and I started doing the course. I went through the chapters. And then started setting up the business. I set up a US LLC. I started looking for products. So I got Helium 10 and found a niche, found a product that I thought I could maybe make this work. And then the first product actually launched in February 2020. Okay. And then obviously COVID hit. And the first product was a really hard sell. It was horrible. It was a dud. It wasn't working. I had no idea what I was doing. The course that I did, Reliable, at the time, I found it was really good to give me a good overview of everything, but I knew I had to go a bit deeper on certain topics. And, you know, Ryan, being my buddy, he would see me at nighttime. He'd come over, we'd have a barbecue, maybe a couple drinks. And I'd be like, oh, I got to go back. I got to do some work I'm working on this Amazon thing. He's like, what are you doing? And because COVID hit, he was actually doing home office as well. As a scientist, he wasn't able to go into the lab. So you have this airline pilot who's essentially grounded during COVID, a scientist who can't go into the lab. So we're both at home in a very fortunate position because we're still getting paid from our employer, because Germany is a pretty social country. So we're getting paid, but we're at home. We have a lot of time. And we said, okay, you know what? Let's figure this out together. And I asked Ryan to help me a bit, to help sell this dud of a product. And I guess that's where Ryan came in.
Yeah. And like, so as Dave mentioned, I'm a scientist. I was in the lab, and when COVID hit, started doing a lot of home office and, you know, having a lot of free time because I can't be in the lab doing experiments. And so I started to fill my downtime, especially in the evenings, with trying to help Dave. And just a little bit of background on myself, you know, I always felt like science wasn't fulfilling like the end game for me. And so I was really kind of watching Dave doing this Amazon stuff, being like, oh, that's so interesting. That's something like I've always been interested in doing, having like a side hustle or starting my own business, but it's never something I would do on my own. Just like I feel like you need that strategic or partner to do it with. So I started helping out Dave a little bit on the side, and it quickly snowballed into something I just love to do together with Dave. It just really became like a little bit of a passion side project. And so we really didn't know anything about Amazon. Our first product, as Dave mentioned, was kind of a dud, but slowly but surely we started to learn and peel back the layers of Amazon. And I think the very first thing we learned about was like canonical URLs or something, how you can adjust the URL of your detail page so that it's more optimized for Google search. And as obscure as that is, it really like got us interested. We're like, oh my God, if you can do this, what else can you do? And then we just started going down the rabbit holes, you know, watching YouTube gurus, finding the voices in the space that we liked, and learning all about, you know, listing optimization, SEO, PPC, external traffic, all that good stuff. And it just snowballed from there. Yeah. And I gotta say, it's a funny story, because when I first started helping out Dave, like, of course, there was no revenue flow. There was no cash flow. So he promised me, he's like, look, I'll put you on my companion list, and you can actually like benefit from some standby flights. And I was like, that's cool. Like I remember like tearing up because I wanted to travel so much. I was like, that's so cool. That's great. And then 2 weeks later, COVID hits.
The world shut down.
The world shuts down, and it didn't get to take advantage of that for a while, but it's okay.
But in all fairness, Ryan, you didn't mention the deal was he was supposed to take care of social media for me, because I hate social media. And I'm like, look, you do the social media for me, try to help me out there, and I'll give you some, you know, cheap flights. And the best part is we both didn't end up fulfilling each other's promises. So that was really funny.
So wait, your first product after Amazon in February 2020.
February 2020, yeah.
Just
and then
before the COVID.
Just before. So I remember launching like February 7th. Yeah.
Right.
But we were selling like 1 unit a day. Like that's how bad it was, because what we didn't understand was like you need search volume, that there are keywords. Like honestly, we knew nothing. My goal. So I think when I started the business, I would set different goals along the way. So initially it was like, okay, I just want to actually get a legal business structure set up, and being in Germany and setting up a US LLC, I said, okay, if I can just set up a legal structure and have a bank account and actually be able to do business, that's going to be my success. And then when I did that, I said, okay, if I can just get a real product live, by the end of the year, I can be successful. And actually, like, it was on the ship at the end of January, or sorry, at the end of December, it was loaded on the ship. And by the time it got to Amazon, it was like February 7th. So in my eyes, it's like, okay, I got a real product. It's en route. I'm successful. And then once it was launched, it's like, okay, maybe if I can sell this at break even, I'll be successful. So we would kept moving the goalpost further and further away as we achieved it, but it gave us like a feeling of success along the way, which was really nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then the COVID hits.
Yeah.
And COVID did a lot of things to Amazon. First, the sales increased.
Oh, not for our product.
Not for product. Okay.
So not for our product.
I think we went from 1 a day to maybe 2 a day.
That's
there we go.
100%.
And you know what? Not even. So I think what COVID did was it really put a fire in me because it got scary. So I'm a young father with 2 young kids, right? My second baby was born at that time. So I have 2 young kids. My wife's not working. I have a mortgage on the house. My paycheck, even though I was getting paid, it was cut in half because, you know, it's essentially a government pay. So the airline's not making money, which means we're not making money. So as a young guy, you know, and you know, all your savings, you just invested in your first business and you're like, no, I had a little bit left. And I think it was almost out of desperation and out of the belief that we could learn enough from our mistakes the first time around that we can actually be successful in this game. So I remember I put in my last $10,000 in savings and I said, Ryan, look, can you buy into the company? I'll sell you part of the company. Let's put our money where our mouth is, buy in. Let's do this officially together. I think it was like a napkin contract, but Ryan's like, all right, I'm in. Let's do this together. And he had just finished paying off his student loan.
Oh my
He
God,
had just got his PhD.
I've been paying off this student loan for the last 10 years. And all I had pictured in my mind was the day I finally pay it off. And that day finally came. And 1 week later, I took it all out again to buy into Dave's company. So, yeah.
But we made it work. And, you know, that COVID was for us really the driving force of saying, let's learn. And we actually placed the next order. So we said, okay, refocus. Let's take what we learned. Why did we reverse engineered it? So we said, why did this product fail? And we were able to use the same supplier. So we won some time, but then we said, let's produce a different product targeting different keywords. And we launched 2 new products with the same supplier and totally did it from a data viewpoint, right? Or data point of view. And then we launched those products that October. So February, the first one, by the time like Christmas hit, we finally sold
the supply chain issues, right?
Supply chain issues were tricky. And us also, like we only placed the order later, right? So I think we placed the order in June or July, but it arrived in October, just in time for Q4. And honestly, after 2 weeks of selling those, we realized that, okay, the things we've done differently this time, they're working. We figured out this Amazon thing, and that's when we really doubled down. So we ended the first year selling at 73,000 revenue. So we realized, okay, we can do this. And then that was 2020.
73,000.
73,000, yeah. And that was more or less, if we're honest, about break even. Just because, you know, there was a lot of learnings, business setup, and but we were happy with it because we realized, okay, we're on to something. And then we're in 2021, all of January, we're out of stock just because, you know, Christmas was better than we expected. Because remember, we're going from a product that does like 1 a day to now launching products properly using a system. And those are just taking off. You know, we sold really, really quickly. And then the second year, we doubled down, we got some external funding, we established our systems, we grew the company to multiple products, and we finished 2021 with 3.1 million.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. And just to kind of put a break in there, it's after that first product, or even when we're selling this first product that's a dud, you know, I think both Dave and I, you know, had thoughts like, do we quit here? Is this it? But like, to Dave's credit, Dave's motto is, you know, you never quit. And so, and this is something, you know, that we see sometimes in sellers that we've met who started out, kind of had a product that was, you know, not the best, a bit of a dud, and are questioning whether Amazon's for them or e-commerce is for them. And Dave and I are just, you know, adamant about, you know, if you have a failed product or if you have a setback, you just learn from it and you push forward being stronger for having had that setback. And I think that was the great thing about having a partnership. It's like we could both talk to each other and be like, you know, look, even though it was a dud and we just broke even, we got to push forward because we're going to take all these learnings. We already have the company set up. We've devoted so much time and energy to this. Let's push forward and get a success out of this.
So Ryan, how do you gain the confidence, like from selling 1 unit per day to, I don't know, selling hundreds and thousands of units per day later on? So from where is the confidence coming from? And how do you how can you engage this confidence towards, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the biggest mindset change for myself personally is learning to think big. Like you said, I would wake up and check my phone every day and see that we sold 1 or 2 units and be genuinely happy and excited about that, and think like, oh my God, what if we, we couldn't sell 10, if we're only doing 2 a day, what, we can't do 10 or 20 or 30. That's crazy. And it's just something that gradually happened over time as we slowly started hitting those numbers. And I was like, wow, the sky's the limit. Like I'm limiting myself with my mindset, to think. I tend to think small and sometimes play like a little bit safe and simple. Yeah. So it was, I don't know, a year later, when you're waking up to 6,000 units sold, and you find yourself being like, oh, we could have sold 8,000. You have to go back a year and be like, no, you got to be happy with that. Like, I was happy waking up to 1 unit a day. I'm going to be ecstatic waking up to 6,000 units a day. So it was a tough mindset change for me, but, and I'm still learning, I'm still getting there. I'm still learning to think big. But that's been the biggest thing for me personally. I don't know about you, Dave.
Well, I think, to answer the question about where do we gain the confidence, I think our confidence was gained with the trust in ourselves and our ability to learn something new and to be able to execute it, right? I think that takes away the fear for me personally to do any new endeavor. So when you're used to flying, like this huge aircraft that weighs like 200 tons and you're landing it with, 350 people, you gain confidence, obviously. You need the confidence to land the plane. And, you start with a small plane, though. So you don't just learn how to fly a big Airbus. You start with small planes. And then once you get confident, now you move up to a bigger one with 12 passengers. Then you're going up to 200 people, now 300, 400 people. And that confidence grows. And it's never because your confidence in the aircraft, right? The confidence is in your own ability. So once we launched those products for that Christmas, what Ryan and I recognize is that we had a theory that we think might work. And once we saw that theory that we had worked in real life, we knew we were onto something. And then the trust was not in Amazon or, in e-commerce. The trust was in ourselves and in our ability to adapt to the market, because it's always changing. So a strategy that might have worked 2 years ago is not going to work today, but our faith is in our own ability to adapt to the new challenge. I think that's where the confidence came from.
Yeah. And like, as we started selling more, like we had seasonal products, right? And so it did take a lot of confidence to hit the order button on a huge purchase order that, for a big holiday, 6 months in advance, 8 months in advance, not knowing what that holiday was going to look like, what your organic ranking is going to look like. So it's a total guessing game, and you just have to have confidence in yourself. And as we went along, we got that confidence, and, hitting the order button on these increasingly larger and larger purchase orders didn't feel so scary anymore, because we'd been through a few holidays, we knew our numbers, and we had the confidence that we were going to hit our numbers. And we even built a lot of tools. Like, we really relied on Excel a lot through our journey, and building up, forecasting tools to be like, hey, what is this next Q4 going to look like? Let's forecast our numbers, and then having confidence that we're going to hit that. And because you gotta, when you have to order that number of units so far in advance, you have to have confidence in your own numbers and ability.
Okay, but I want to take you a bit back to the story, to January 2021.
Yeah.
When you finished 2022 in 2020 in 73K.
Yeah.
Total revenue, by the way? It's total revenue 73K?
Total revenue. And remember, we just launched in February. Until October, we were selling 1 unit a day. So we made $35 a day until October.
Okay. So
right?
Let's try to touch the points that made you jump from 73K to 3 million. Because I think that's super important, super interesting.
Okay, cool. So a couple things there. I think, there's a couple elements, because Ryan and I, we always try to self-analyze as well and figure out, what helped us get this big. And then can we do that again? Can we repeat it? Can we help others do it? I think what we really tuned it down to was the fact that we were not scared to join networks. Okay. So for example, as part of being the reliable education, trainee in the program, you're part of a private Facebook group where you can exchange stuff. And one thing we would always focus on is not just learning from other people. We would try to give back as much as possible in that group along the way. And I mean, this would be simple stuff at the beginning because we were just beginners, right? Like Ryan mentioned, we would rely on Excel a lot and we would build these spreadsheets. And one of them was very simple. It was a PPC calculator to calculate your break-even bid and, conversion rate and stuff like that. And we'd build it and then we would share it in the group. And we learned the more we shared, the more people were kind of willing to share with us and help us along the way. And we would be
a private group?
Yeah, so the reliable one was a private group, but we were also in one that I really like is e-commerce mindset, right? So from Liren, and we're in his group. And I remember it was October, we had just launched and we had like 23 days of sales history, 23 days, right? And we were just seeing sales really pick up for Q4 and we knew, we don't have enough units. And I remember telling Ryan, I'm like, okay, look, for us to take this big, we're going to need some funding. We're going to have to get a loan. And we started looking around at our options. Now, the problem was we had a US-based LLC, okay? Now, we don't have social insurance numbers in the States. And the business was so young that if we would go to a US bank, they wouldn't give us a loan.
Oh.
Right? And then because we're in Germany, if we wanted to go to a German bank to get a loan, they would say, well, no, it's a US company. We're not going to do it. We're not going to risk it. So now we're stuck in a place where we can't get funding.
Yeah.
So then what we ended up doing was Liren had posted that he had just partnered up, with this great company, 8Fig. And they're just kind of starting out, but they're looking for some serious and smart sellers. So I remember reaching out to Liren, and this is where like the networking is so important in my opinion, right? I find that, and that's what I love about Amazon is that it's a small community. People start knowing each other. And everyone has a sense of abundance. So no one feels like they're competing against each other. It feels like we're all trying to help each other because we recognize, hey, there's enough money to be made for everyone. So Liren, this guy that doesn't know us, he's willing to connect us, to the whole team at 8Fig. And I'll never forget it. So I'm on a call with them. I'm in Mexico City in the hotel. I have like crappy Wi-Fi. And I'm trying to explain to this 8Fig team our Excel sheets that we had built that showed our growth forecasts and how we have hit every single number. And that's why we know we need at least $300,000 worth of funding for the next order. And they honestly, I thought they would laugh at us. But these guys, they had faith in us. They looked at us. They recognized it. They loved our systems. And we connected on such a good level that, they said, okay, guys, we'll give you a shot. Let's do this together. So without external help, we wouldn't have been able to grow that fast. And then the next step was for Ryan and I to make sure we delivered, right? So now the stakes are up, we feel like, all right, let's do this. But having that external funding really allowed us to place a bigger order and be ready for the next peak, which for us would have been Valentine's Day and then Mother's Day because we're selling seasonal gifts.
Okay, got it. So first, good community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Second, funding.
Third. So this one is going to be important. So we actually created a strategy, and this was strategic for our product, for choosing our product. So this is a story that we actually haven't told a long time. One of the main reasons why we wanted to, sell on Amazon and get rich quick, so to say, why I was looking, my wife, we're both from Canada, and she wanted to move back to Canada. And I saw that there's a small airport, a small municipal airport that was actually for sale, right? And it was for sale for like $3.5 million Canadian. And I told my wife, I'll only move back to Canada if you let me buy an airport. And my wife loves me.
Why do you need an
airport?
As one says, no, it would have been like literally your house and your backyard. There's an airport with 2 runways, small airplanes. It'd be so cool just to like finish dinner and tell the kids, hey, leave the dishes. Let's go. We're going to go watch the sunset and then fly and land again. It would just be so cool. So I told my wife I want an airport. So in the back of our mind, it was always like, okay, we got to scale big. We want to ride this wave. We want to get an exit, and I want to buy an airport. So when we're doing the product selection, this is to answer the third part. What we were actually doing is we were looking for a manufacturer that can manufacture products different enough to target a new set of keywords for us. Because what we recognized really early on from the failed product is that Amazon is a search engine where the people searching for things have a really high intent to buy. Okay, so if we can just figure out, it could be the same person. Like people would ask us at the beginning, who's your avatar? What's your avatar? That was a word thrown around. And we said, we don't have an avatar. We have a search list, like a keyword list, a search volume. That search volume is our avatar. So we're going to go after the people searching this, and we're going to do our product selection based purely on search volume, and then go down the list. And our manufacturer has to be able to, produce for this group of keywords a product, and then for another keyword group, the similar product, but for a different target audience. And I think that's what led to massive success, because then we didn't have to vet another supplier. We didn't have to do a factory audit. We didn't have to wait for samples. We were able to launch essentially 9 different products using the same supplier, but on Amazon's terms, because they had different keyword lists, they're completely different products.
Yeah. And that was so important for Dave and I, just to re-stress, we're just 2 guys who had no experience. And so the idea of having to branch out and vet new suppliers was a bit overwhelming. So yeah, to Dave's credit, what he just said, we needed to stick with the same supplier and find a way to target new keywords. And that tied with the external funding from 8Fig was, really how we grew so fast.
Yeah.
Super amazing. So let's go to the next step of the story.
Yeah.
You have finished 2021 in big hit in $3 million, lots of profit. What will be the next steps?
Right. So we said, okay, let's see, what are we going to do next? We had 2 options. We said, one,
I guess that the COVID is already faded and COVID
is faded. Yeah.
Okay.
And, our brand's established. So one thing that we really discovered early on too, is that, when we hear a lot of people, trying to save costs and stuff, we never did it on the manufacturing end. We never did it on our supplier end. We realized these workers, in China, they're making our products, but what are we going to shave 10 cents off? And we sold a lot of units. Like in total, we were close to 200,000 units. So 10 cents each would be quite a lot of money. But we realized, that is a drop in the bucket along the cost in your entire supply chain, right? And everyone felt that in COVID. Logistics went up, freight, Amazon, they just announce new fees all the time because they want to. They don't even care. It's like, sorry, next year things are expensive for us, so you guys pay it. So we said, we don't want to put the pressure there. What we want to put our pressure on is on quality. And what's beautiful is, I remember it was once we had to say look, listen, this isn't to our quality. We want those units destroyed. We want you to start over. And they didn't believe that we said that. And we said, no, and we need proof. We're going to send inspectors. You got to destroy them. We want perfect quality. And once we showed them that we were serious and that we had this whole mentality of quality over, cost, they really delivered. And it's so nice because it makes launching products easy. We know the quality is going to be, we're not scared of Vine, and we've been getting really good reviews ever since. So the reason why I mentioned the quality aspect and to focus on that is because it goes to show you where you want to put your attention, right? So we wanted to put our attention on the quality. And we realized that, okay, this 2-man show, we're so focused on the quality and the manufacturing and selling on Amazon, we're onto something here. We know we can grow it, but we need a team in place. We really need a team in place. And so we had 2 options. One, we either, build a team. Ryan and I, we have a bit of trust issues, right? So we're a little bit of perfectionists. We hated outsourcing, even PPC. We'd rather learn it ourselves. We never had VAs. We said, look, we want to learn. And it wasn't even trust issues. Well, it was trust issues, but it was also just really, really interested in learning every aspect of the game. I think that it was more of that really, really curiosity stuff, right?
So basically, up until this point, both of you did basically everything in the business.
Everything.
Also, I'll throw in by this point, the startup company that I had been working for went under. So I'm unemployed because of COVID and loss of funding. So I'm unemployed. I'm sitting at home. I have all the time in the world now. And so that just gave, us reason to dive into everything and continue to do things ourselves for a little bit. But like Dave said, we did reach the point where hey, if this brand needs to grow, we need to outsource it, but we didn't really want to do that.
And because that 3.1 million, so our growth projection was actually to do 5 million the year after. So 2022, we were going to do 5 million, right? And in the first 6 months, we did the 2.5 million. So we're right on track. We're super excited. And we said, okay, look, it's time to either exit and sell it to a team that's fully established in place, that's going to help us grow. Or what we're going to do is we're going to slowly start building a team and then, get some VAs in, get some people to help with logistics and stuff like that. But we opted to exit.
So you got...
Please, Eric.
No, please, Amit.
Please, my friend, please.
So you start talking with brokers.
Yeah. So, this is another fun thing about networking, right? So we started getting the year before. So in 2021, like our big year, our first big year, we started getting approached by several aggregators. That was a hot year for aggregators. So aggregators were writing us. And then even some brokers started writing us. And we actually started talking to Fortinet, right? So as you can see, it was all Israeli.
Yeah.
So
it started with Liran, an
Fortinet.
ex-Israeli. Liran is ex-Israeli, born in Israel.
Yeah.
And then go to 8fig, an Israeli startup. Go
That's
to
right.
Fortinet, the Israeli broker.
Our lawyers. So we use, yeah, exactly. And we use Kabili & Co. as our legal team as well. Because we had, as you sell on Amazon long enough, you need some legal help, because of false copyright claims or whatever, right? So, with Yale, we had a really good relationship with Yale, Kabili as well. So yeah, it's funny. We ended up having this Israeli connection, which I loved. So Fortinet actually reached out to us, and they had two guys working on their team, super fun guys, and they said, hey, look, we're actually going to be in Munich, or I think they're in Frankfurt, but they're in Germany for this conference, and they would love to meet up with us, take it out for dinner and drinks, and just talk more about what they do and what they could do for us. And we actually met up. It was Christmas time, 2021. So we met up with them, had a couple beers, had some good food, and then we said, okay, you know what? Let's start the process slowly. We have a couple big peaks coming up, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day next year, but let's slowly start working together and see what kind of offers we can get. So that's when we started working with them.
Got it. How was the selling process with them?
Well, to be honest, it was our first and only selling process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really hard for us to compare to anything. However, I think what's important for Ryan and I always is that we feel like there's a good human relationship, like a trust between the people we're working with. And I think we just hit it off with Fortinet from the start, and they kind of walked us through the process. And it was new for us. So it was kind of exciting. And I didn't have any high expectations, to be honest, or any expectations at all, because we just didn't do it. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, what was interesting was to have, it was really the first time that we had someone externally look into our business and kind of validate us that, like, yeah, you guys have a really cool, solid business here, which is, we thought that, but it was nice to hear that externally, because, to Dave's credit, he was really good at setting up the business structure in a really sound and secure way. And then the sales and the numbers to back it up. So that was really, really cool. And then, the whole, I don't know if we want to get into the due diligence process, but it was
that's after when the actual, so that wasn't during the Fortinet phase, right? I guess that's after, once we got some offers and some aggregators coming in to look at it.
Yeah. So the question is, by the way, this process can take, sometimes it can take 3 months, 6 months, a year, and nobody knows really if this is gonna go on or not. So in the meantime, did you guys decided, okay, we're gonna build a team, meanwhile you are trying to sell the company, or did you say, okay, let's focus now just on selling the company, let's try to scale the business, let's try to keep us just both of us?
Yeah.
So of course, lower cost essentially. And what was the plan?
Yeah, so no, a really good question. So one thing that Ryan and I said very early on is we're going to run this as if we're keeping it, because the last thing we wanted was for anyone to jump last minute and then we have a company that we stop working on or start playing our strategy. So we decided, okay, we're going to launch a couple new products for the Q4. We're going to make sure we're ready for holiday season. And we started vetting PPC companies, because we said that's one thing that we're going to outsource. It's something that takes up too much of our time. And we started vetting them. And, being, essentially friends with Liran, and he's Digital Incrementum. And, we said, okay, we're going to look at them. And did I say that right, Ryan? Yeah. Digital. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
It's such a hard business name. I always say it wrong. So we didn't actually set up a team, but we also set deadlines along the way. So for us, it was important to kind of target August as a deadline, because we said that if we didn't sell by August, then we're going to do the Q4 ourselves, because, you know, that's when we make the chunk of our money. That's when it's important. And transferring over a company and a strategy to new players, it takes time to get the systems in place. They take time to get used to the products and the keywords and stuff. So we wanted to get the buyer, give them also a fair chance to slowly transition. And we saw it really as by August, they're going to need 2-3 months to figure stuff out and get used to it and establish it. And then it's Q4. Any later, well, we might as well hang on to it one more year. So for us, that was essentially an internal deadline. And yeah, we would have built a team with a couple VAs after that.
And
we exited. And that's it, right? So yeah, Fortinet found us a couple of really good offers. And that was the most exciting part for us, is being able to choose, you know, who we ended up going with. And we essentially said, we wanted to give it, you know, go with a partner that we felt was young, energetic, and that had, you know, the same growth potential, motivation that we did, right? So to take this to multiple platforms, to take it to multiple countries, to really keep developing the brand, launching new products. And that's why we ended up choosing a partner.
Good partner.
Are we allowed to say this? I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. I will finish the story from the other side.
Sounds good.
From Atomic side, when first I saw the David and Waraien business, I was amazed for the things they did in 1 year. With 8-fig, without 8-fig, it's nevertheless, it's not important. They just built an amazing business that grew so fast with a lot of potential. So I just told the board, we have to take it, but by any price, we have to take it.
Oh, you mean we could have charged more? You tell us this now? No, we gave you guys a deal.
Okay, so you exited, and congratulations. And
thank you. Yeah.
What will be the next step?
When was it, by the way?
You know what? We hit the August deadline. We were, I think, 3 or 4 days late. But and honestly, now that you said the name, I got to give so much credit to Atomic. This is what Ryan was going to start talking about before, the due diligence, right? Guys, due diligence is a beast, I think, for anyone. It's crazy the amount of work back and forth. And what was really nice working with Atomic is they had, you know, a system, and Ryan and I got excited. They shared an Excel spreadsheet, you know, we're like, yes,
that was a good day.
This is our talk, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we were able to just follow a plan, and that's what we like. We like setting up a system, and just every day we just follow it. And I think, you know, you'll agree that we were fast too, delivering stuff. You guys would say, hey, we need this. We're like, all right, let's do it. And we would spend every day, Ryan and I, just hacking away, giving them everything they need. If we had questions, they would respond right away. And at the end, I think both sides, we would have 12, 13, 14-hour days working overtime to try to meet that deadline of August. And it was great. So it was exciting. It was fast. It was hard work. But I think both sides really did a good job pulling that off.
Yeah, it was both Dave and I's first time going through anything like that. And I mean, I'll keep it real. There was one day where it was a rough day, just because because of the complexity of the business, and how, you know, Dave and I are two Canadians living in Germany with an American LLC selling to an Israeli aggregator through an Israeli broker. It was a bit complex. And I remember there was one day we had like 4 or 5 back-to-back meetings. One of those was in German. And so it took, I think at the end of that, I was just winded. I was like,
I cried. No, don't call it winded, Ryan. You cried.
I cried into Dave's shoulders. He had to hug me and be like, everything's okay. But there was a couple of days that was just overwhelming, just because it was a lot of meetings back and forth. But everyone was super professional and hit the deadline right on the mark. So in the end, it was really, really successful.
Yeah.
So how is the life after? What will be the next steps for you?
Right. So funny. So a lot of people have asked us, so like, you know, are you guys going to quit your jobs? It's like me. The answer is no. I'll never quit my
You can
job.
buy your airport.
I can, you know what? It's funny. So like I said, you know what? There's some taxes, some German tax. There was this exit tax. You know, there's so much money potentially that we have to pay maybe as an exit tax, but it's never sure until like a year later, and it's an escrow. So I said, you know what? It would essentially be too tight. The money would be all invested in one airport. And if there's a recession coming and people stop flying their small planes for fun because the fuel prices are up, it would be a silly, way too high risk investment for me. So we decided instead, I bought my mom a house, you know, I let her retire. I said, thanks, Mom, for providing me my life and, you know, all the chances you gave me. Here's a house, go retire. So that was super exciting for me to be able to do that. And then, you know, people have asked me, would you ever quit? And I said, look, I'm never going to quit being a pilot. I've been flying now. I've been flying for 20 years now, 21 years. And I absolutely love it. It's my passion. It's my hobby. Maybe I'll fly a bit less. And, you know, in Germany, I'm allowed to do part-time. So I can work a bit part-time if I want. And Ryan, on the other hand, a bit different.
I've got the e-commerce bug for sure. You know, like it's so interesting. I was a molecular biologist, studied science my whole life, did my master's, PhD, and was really heading down this academic trail, you know, to become maybe a postdoc, professor, what have you. But you know, then once I've got a taste of this e-commerce world and the kind of success you can have and the people that are involved in this community, yeah, I'm really just going to continue down this new trail and put science to the side for now and really, you know, go full in on this e-commerce journey, and really excited to do so. So yeah, then the next steps, you know, we're looking, that's still kind of what we're trying to figure out right now. Like we're doing some consulting and coaching on the side right now, for people who are, you know, just looking for a little bit of help, anything e-commerce, Amazon or Walmart specifically. But yeah, the next steps are still in discussion. Yeah,
they're exciting. So, I mean, we can give a little teaser because I think this is really a cool idea for a lot of people, especially in the Amazon space. It's a book called Buy, Then Build. And essentially it talks about the difference between startup entrepreneurs versus acquisition entrepreneurs, and saying that, you know, the chances of succeeding at a startup level are so low, statistically speaking. And the data actually supports that it's a much better business model doing the acquisition game. And Ryan and I right now, through our networking and through we've had some really nice offers to buy into a couple smaller brands that do maybe 500 to 800,000 revenue a year, you know, and then partner up with them and say, look, we're gonna try to take this to at least 5 million a year revenue, and then maybe exit again. So that's what we're looking at is, you know, the acquisition game right now, because I think it's super exciting, especially because Ryan and I, we have a system in place that works, and, you know, we're so organized, and, you know, even our barcodes had a system and our SKU name had a system and everything. And if we can just say, let's try to use our system and plug it in over another brand and help them grow, be their team, and then we can exit. And we actually want to do that, like a roll up of brands. Instead of saying, let's just do one, let's try to find a really smart system, a really smart business model where we can work with several brands, and slightly different than an aggregator, because, you know, aggregator, they kind of just like, you know, buy brands and they have a team in place and they manage the brands. We want to do more of an alliance of brands where the business owner stays on and we all work instead of a mastermind. Because one thing that Ryan and I never really liked about masterminds is these paid masterminds, you pay a lot of money and they'll teach you knowledge and it's a network and it's good, but you're still doing all the work yourself. It's your business, you're working in it. But imagine if you now had a master doing, instead of just thinking, a master doing.
An accelerator.
Like an accelerator, exactly. Almost like an accelerator, but with skin in each other's games, including into the whole alliance. So what we're going to figure out is a model where we get equity in their company and we put that in a pool, and every business that is in that pool has equity in the pool.
Okay,
so now,
interesting.
I don't want to leak too much because we're setting it up, but it's never been done before, and it's genius, if we say so ourselves. No, but it's an extremely business opportunity that we're trying to set up right now, and we're really going to vet it, and we're going to choose, in our opinion, the perfect team of people that'll work well together, that are excited, that are hungry like we were, and we're going to, you know, coach them on our systems along the way. And it's been proven that the bigger your annual revenue is, the bigger multiplier you can get at an exit. So even if we take, let's say, 30% equity in a company, because we give them back equity in the pool, it's only like a net 21% equity. And then you're getting a bigger multiple that we calculate that within 5 years, we can actually double their exit if they do it over us and our system. So something very exciting. That's kind of what's next for us. So I don't want to give away too much because we're still in the setup process, figuring it out. Ryan and I have a new partner. So we're really excited. We're going to take this duo to 3. We're really, really excited to work with him. He's also an Amazon seller, really smart guy. And the 3 of us we're going to do big things.
And I think what excites me, sorry, Ellie?
Another Israeli?
You know what? He's not.
No.
I think the first guy is not Israeli. But one of the first potential brands that's going to join us is an Israeli. So that's really good. Yeah.
And I mean, what I love is, and I don't know if we've touched on this, is just how, Dave and I are 2 completely different people. We have, very different skill sets, which is, I think, great for a partnership. I'm more the day-to-day guy in Amazon, looking at all the micro stuff that needs to be done day to day. And I love doing that. Dave is more the big picture guy, macro, working on the business structure, that kind of stuff. And that's his forte. And then the people that we're looking to team up with right now, they are more geared towards the marketing, making great creatives, product research, sourcing, growing the brand, influencers, that kind of stuff. And so
it's like hiring people, right? Like
hiring a team. Yeah. And so we all have such, distinct skill sets, and yet we all understand each other's skill, areas to a certain degree, so that we can always have good communication. And I think that's what really excites me, is building that alliance of people that can communicate and understand everything really well.
Wow, sounds super interesting, super exciting. And
I know we said we were going to take August off, and we ended up not really. And then we're like, okay, we're going to take December off, and it's not really going that way.
I think we're maybe addicted to working on it, honestly. And I think part of that is because we enjoy it so much, right? And it's Ryan and I, for hobbies, we actually love doing escape rooms. Do you guys have escape rooms in Tel Aviv, by the way?
Yeah, of course.
Hundreds, if not thousands of them.
Man, we love it. So Ryan and I, so before COVID hit, Red Bull Games, they actually had like an escape room competition. So Ryan and I, we formed a team with we're 4 guys, and we actually said we're going to be Team Germany for the Red Bull Games. So we were practicing like once a week at a different escape room all across Europe. It was so much fun. And then COVID hit, so they stopped the games. But it's a passion of ours. We do it for fun. We just did it with our new partner. We met up with him in Milan last week to discuss this business venture. It's an Italian guy, and it was just so much fun doing an escape room together, because it really shows you if the team works well together or not.
It's funny.
Wow.
So
that's quite a story.
Yeah, one of the best stories that we ever had in our episodes.
Cool. Thanks.
We have a steady question in every show, the same question that we ask all our guests. And I think I know what will be David's answer. The question is, what will you do if you will won $10 million tomorrow, net, after taxes?
Wow, that's a cool question. Ryan, you go first.
Oh my God, Dave knows my answer. The answer
is on his bank account for the next 3 years, trying to figure out.
I have no idea. Again, coming back to how Dave and I'm a very much live in the moment kind of guy. I'm terrible at planning for the future, and that comes with it. That has good sides. I love that about myself. I've seen the benefits of that kind of way of thinking. So I would not know what to do. I would just be like, that's great, and then maybe seek out some financial advice.
No, what Ryan would do, Ryan, don't lie. You would pick up the phone. You would be like, Dave, I just won. What do I do? I have $10 million. Tell me what to do.
I like, Dave, tell me what to do. Dave, tell me what to do.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, David. Once you complete the purchase of the airport,
yes,
what else would you do?
So I still have 6.5 million. So that's super exciting. I mean, look, what I would do is I would honestly make sure, that my family's set up, that they're well off. For me, family is everything, right? And it's I got to make sure that they're taken care of. So that's the first thing. And then I would love playing. So this is where I'm going to start. So I'm going to go into crypto with a little of it, because I would put even $1 million in crypto. I see right now crypto as a Black Friday sale. It's cheap right now. And I do believe in technology. I think the blockchain technology is revolutionary. I think it's going to be really smart and change the way we do business. I think just right now, it's kind of like at the dot-com bubble. You had so many bad apples at the beginning, so many companies that went broke and down under. Even Amazon lost 95% of its stock value in the dot-com bubble. But the internet technology was genius, and it's still around forever. So what I would be more upset having not invested $1 million in crypto than losing $1 million in crypto. So I would rather look back in 10 years' time and be like, oh, you know what? I shouldn't have put $1 million in crypto from like 10 million than saying I knew I should have done it and I didn't do it. So $1 million would go into crypto. That's for sure. And then what I would do is I would just, say, okay, let's be smart about this, diversify, buy some real estate, and then just keep doing the Amazon game, aggregate, right? Buy some companies, build them, and then just, make them grow. Oh, and buy my wife something nice, right? Oh, if she's listening to this, right if she's listening, you get something.
You get.
We will edit it. Don't worry. We will.
All right, thanks. Let's rewind it.
Exactly.
First by my wife.
Yeah.
David and Ryan, thank you very much for spending your time and sharing with your super exciting and interesting journey on Amazon. And I wish you much of luck, a lot of luck, and a lot of. I'm sure that you will be, whatever you will touch, you just be successful, and just wait for the next time to buy another account from you.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun to work together again. Thanks for having us, guys. We really appreciate it too. And if there's any way that we can give back, let us know as well. We have a Facebook group. It's a very small group. It's humble. It's fun, but that's kind of where we do, drop a couple golden nuggets every now and then. We have our Excel sheets that we sell. So people, if they kind of like the system that we have and the stuff that we've built, explore the world that we kind of built for us. And if you like it, try to join it a bit. Say hello to us in our Facebook group. It's so small and intimate that it's fun that we actually respond to everything and help people out as much as we can. And I would love to see
how can the audience can reach to your Facebook groups?
Right. So
the website?
The Facebook group is called Divan Group. So just
Divan?
Divan, Divan. And Divan is essentially Dave and Ryan, right? Because Ryvid sounded like a disease. So we didn't want to Ryvid
going on,
How do you spell it, guys?
Davan.
Why don't you give the NATO alphabet there, Dave?
It's the phonetic alphabet.
Phonetic alphabet. Go for it.
So we got the Delta Alpha, Victor Alpha November, Divan. So we got Divan, and it's Divan Strategic. So just if you Google Divan Strategic, you'll find our company, our website. There's a bit of our story there, and you can just see some of the tools that we've built.
Perfect.
And I think in the not so distant future, we might be hitting up Tel Aviv. So excited to meet you guys and a few other people in person.
I mean, we've been saying that for a while, but we are going to do it. I know we've been saying it for a while, but we promise. It's just we've been so busy, setting up all these new ventures. But
you have to take a vacation, a 2 weeks vacation, 3 weeks. You need to enjoy your moments.
You know what? You're right. And it's our weakness. You're absolutely right. It's our weakness. We've never been good at it. And we've promised ourselves together that we would remind each other to take a break, to take a vacation, to enjoy it. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Let me tell you a quick peek here that the weather now is about 28 degrees, so Celsius. So it's a great time to come for vacation. Sit in the beach a little bit and enjoy. Exactly. And enjoy.
For anyone who's watching on video, I don't know if you can see, but that's about 2 centimeters of snow outside. So I'll take 50 degrees.
So you have a reason now. You have a reason now to come to a visit.
It'd be fun. Yeah. Would love to come. Maybe get some of your listeners all together. We'll do a nice dinner or something. Would be cool.
Sure.
David and Ryan, thank you very much. Have a great week, and vamos Argentina.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
Thanks, Ellie. Thanks, Ahmed.
Thank you. Thank you.